good job with the all together, right? All together, awesome job, right? Complementary football, right? Offense, right? Defense, working together with special teams, right? And you saw what that can be. Now, let me tell you this. We're going to look at that tape, and there's going to be some items we need to clean up. All right, so we'll enjoy this performance. We'll look at this performance to what? To improve with a neutral eye. Make sense?
Hey, let's go, bro. Let's keep building off that momentum, bro. Way to play complimentary football, bro. From offense to special teams to defense, bro. Hey, let's go.
Chicago, claws up, bear down, red zone, let's go. Chicago, claws up, bear down, red zone, let's go. Chicago, claws up, bear down, red zone, let's go.
All right, as you heard in there from Eberflus and Schmade Edmonds, I dubbed in a little bit of the locker room talk, the post-game speech that they gave. This is a well-rounded team, and that's what excites me about this Bears team. It's not lopsided anymore. There is huge potential on both offense and defense now that this team could surge top 10 in both offense and defense. That's what's so freaking exciting. Today, I'm going to focus on the pass rush. I've focused on the pass rush a lot in the offseason because we were so worried that it was going to be the glaring weakness. If you remember, going into the preseason, going into this time where the Bears had to prove it, that was the big question mark everyone had. In fact, most places had us ranked 25th, 27th, 29th on defensive line. This defensive line is showing to be one of the best in the entire NFL, and it's freaking exciting. So I've done a lot of videos about the pass rush. I'm going to pull me off the screen because I'm going to get into this video. And I want to show the pass rush, the pressure effect. So this is from before. This is from a prior video. If you want to go check that one out, go check it out. I'm going to run through this real quick. You can go back and look at that one. But this is showing the Tez effect. Everything that happened when Montez Sweat came over and how it improved both pass rush win rate, the pressures per snap, how the entire line benefited from him, and that obviously affected the secondary as well, because the more pressure these defensive linemen get, the more it helps out. But as we came into this season, everyone was worried that this defensive line wasn't affected enough, that Austin Booker was too young, which is true. He needs to develop, that there was no one there to replace him or to be able to step into his place and to be able to help him out. In the meantime, everyone always discredits DeMarcus Walker. They have for a long time, which was a big reason of why I made this video last year, the Tez effect, the Montez Sweat effect and how it created pressures. And I did a big thing at the bottom there. This was last year's video at the end of last offseason showing how Montez Sweat, when he came over, created DeMarcus Walker, was able to get more sacks, more pressure, and less missed tackles. Everything about his game improved, and that was what I called the Tez effect. I'm going to show you guys the swarm effect and what happened in this team this year because of the offseason that we had. So here was last year's defense, the way it's lined up on PFF with their ratings for everything. You see, the weaknesses we showed was why I put the biggest positions of need up top, the starters, edge, free safety. Eddie Jackson was declining. DeMarcus Walker had a rough year until Montez Sweat came over. Yannick Ngakoue was an absolute bust. I mean, if there's ever a bust, 117th out of 118th graded edges. He was terrible. Jones was on his way out as well. Now he's over in Arizona, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's where he went. Tyreek Stevenson was improving, so I gave him a light green grade. Tremaine Edmonds was injured, so we had a light green grade. So there were spots to improve, but look at how this looks this year now as we've turned the corner. Now, I didn't fill it in with the colors, but I think you guys know where I stand on these. 65 is your starter quality. 80 and above is your elite players. We've got Jack Sanborn at 74.8. He doesn't have a grade because he hasn't played enough snaps because we're not spending enough time in our base defense. We're mostly a nickel in our defense most of the time, but when he is in, he's an absolute beast. He's a brawler. He's an animal. Where can I put me? Right up here. Boom. I'll put me up top because none of this stuff applies anymore. This is last year's biggest position of needs. Bam. Move all them. You look there. Kevin Byard. I wanted Xavier McKinney And for good reason. Look at how he's doing with the Packers. He's doing extremely well. But look at Kevin Byard, 85.9 PFF grade. Absolutely phenomenal. And obviously the interception yesterday, but his coverage grade is phenomenal, and his tackling is better than McKinney's. So he looks really, really, really good for the Bears so far. Man, I just muffied up my hat. Boom. All right, then you look down at Jalen Johnson, as expected, third-ranked corner this year. He'll be right at the top every year. He was first last year, 84.0. But you look across the board there, the defensive line is what everybody is worried about. Montez Sweat was our shining bright spot. He has the lowest grade out of any of them, 62.1. And it's not because he's terrible. He's getting focused on a lot. But this is a swarm effect of this defense. Every one of these guys on this defense is starter quality. Even Tyreek Stevenson at 58.7 with the lowest on the team. He had a rough game against the Rams. I'm confident his grade will come up, and he'll be a top 50, top 40, top 30 corner in the league before the year's over. I really like what he did. I did a lot of videos on that, how he did at the end of last year. But you look at this, Gervondexter, 23rd out of 123 defensive interior. Andrew Billings, 68.9. 21st. We have 2 of the top 23 defensive interiors in the league. That's going to stack us in top 5 defensive interior in the entire league. Like when you have 2 in the top 23, that's phenomenal. DeMarcus Walker, again, picking up where he left off, benefiting from Montez Sweat being here. And he's been an absolute wrecker. The pressure that Montez Sweat is creating this year is phenomenal. 68.0 PFF grade. So I love everything about this defense and the defensive line so far. It's being overshadowed by some other things, the high talking points, a rookie quarterback. And I'm not trying to take away from Caleb or Rome because they are phenomenal. Caleb, I'm going to try to do something on him this week, but obviously taking huge steps forward, things that rookie quarterbacks in Chicago have never done, but also the media is just not giving proper attention where it needs to be put. Caleb is absolutely showing up, especially under pressure, reading defenses, looking them off. I mean, everything about his game is showing that he is the most elite quarterback in this draft class. Say what you want about Jaden Daniels, that's fine. These things will level themselves out over time. I've said all along this is more like the 2020 draft class where you've got multiple good quarterbacks. I did highlights on Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. I did highlights on all of them, and I said they're all going to be good quarterbacks. That's coming to fruition right now. All right, so let's look at this pass rush so far this year. And this is the big thing I want to point out. Now, you have to look over here. I got to remember to bring my pointer up so you guys can see what I'm talking about because sometimes I get talking without being able to explain it. But here's my little mini. Here's the bear down logo. Here's my little mini bear down logo. Hi, little bear down logo. It's going to point out where I'm looking. So right here, Zach Pickens, he's only had 4 pass rushes. So, I mean, some of these guys aren't qualified. Byron Cowart's only been in on 25. Daniel Hardy only on 5. Austin Booker on 40. Chris Williams on 50. So very limited sample size for these guys. But some of these, like DeMarcus Walker, look at how many pressures he's had. 13 pressures this year. That's freaking phenomenal. I'm very happy with him. Now, PFF sack stats are always wrong. They credit half sacks as full sacks. So don't take the sacks here as gospel. In fact, Gervondexter's at 4. Some of these should be half sacks. So don't take that as gospel. But what I want to look at here is the win percentage. This win percentage is significantly improved off last year. And the thing is, guys, we're trending as a top 10 defensive line right now. And there's no one that's the standout. I mean, you look at Gervondexter, he's got the most sacks, but then you look at DeMarcus Walker, he has the highest win percentage. Gervondexter has the best pressure rate, but some of these guys are right there with him, with Darrell Taylor, with Andrew Billings. Andrew Billings is always a presence on every one of the plays. Batted balls, Montez Sweat's long arms, he's in on almost every play, and then he's batting balls down. It feels like he's had more than 2, but they're giving him credit for 2. So this is a balanced defensive line, and I love everything about it. And when I say that, look at DeMarcus Walker, 13 pressures, Andrew Billings, 10 pressures, Montez Sweat, 12 pressures, Gervondexter, 15 pressures. And then coming in on rotation, this can't be understated, overstated, whatever. You can't praise him enough. Darrell Taylor on 93 snaps compared to these guys. Well, Billings only has 99, so about the same there. But Darrell Taylor and Billings, these other guys, 150, 127, 126, those are the main 4 staples for us this year. 15, 10, 12, 10, 13 pressures. I don't remember being this excited about a defensive line in recent memory. Like this is and it was unexpected. This team was supposed to be 27th ranked, 28th ranked, 29th ranked defensive line, and they're showing up. I mean, praise Eric Washington for this. He's obviously done a great job with the defensive line, but this team has that cohesion. What you were hearing Matt Eberflus talk about, what you hear about the team concept, it really is a team concept with this team, and that's what gets you excited. These guys can win any game they play. We're playing the Niners in a couple months, and 2 months from right now, playing the Niners, there's no reason we can't win that game with these guys. I mean, it's easy to say that when the Niners are 2-3. They're obviously struggling a little bit, but they're a tough team still. We can win every one of these games. We go up against the Purple Monsters in a month and a half. We can beat the Vikings. We can beat the Lions. We can beat the Packers. I mean, we can beat any team with this team cohesion that we're showing right now. So I love every bit of this. Here's the game against the Panthers. I want to highlight this. This is just last night's game. 6 pressures from DeMarcus Walker and Gervondexter, both with 6 pressures. Darrell Taylor with almost the same amount of reps as Gervondexter, 5 pressures. Byron Cowart with 2, Andrew Billings with 2, Austin Booker with a sack. I mean, this I can't state this enough. People are saying because it was the Panthers that it means less. The Bears had 27 pressures last night in yesterday's game, yesterday noon. 27 pressures. The Panthers had given up 16 pressures in their first 4 games combined. And it's not like they played crap teams. 16 pressures in 4 games, and then against the Bears, they gave up 27 pressures. They gave up 1 sack in the prior 4 games. They gave up 4 to the Bears. That's phenomenal. I absolutely love this team. This is getting excited. This could be really, really fun to watch. Okay, this is going to be really small. I apologize for those trying to look on your phones or anywhere small. Let me take me off. But this is the 3 different places for stats. I mean, there's more than these 3, but this is showing Gervondexter the last 10 games. Now, I've already said PFF is off on their stat numbers. Remember that. So here at the bottom, PFF. Here's his last 5 games of last year, and here's his first 5 of this year. He's picked right up where he left off. And that conditioning, the eating habits, getting his body in shape, it's paying off. Look at the last 5 games of last year. 2 sacks, 1 sack, 1 sack. And really, it's 2.5 sacks. You'll see that. But they give him credit for 4 in those 5 games. Now, this year, they're giving him credit for 5 sacks in 5 games, but it's really 4 sacks. These are both half sacks right here. So, but then look at the pressure. 6 in this last game. 2, 1, 3, 3. This is the end of last year. 3, 2, 3, 4. This is when he took off, and he's keeping up that momentum. And you look at the other ones. Here's NFL.com, same thing. Here's the sacks at the end of last year, 1.5 in that game, half. And then this year, 1, 1, 1, 1 so far, and then a fumble recovery as well. And then if you go over to ESPN, here's theirs sacks last year, 5, and then last year, 2.5 here, and then this year, 4 through 5 games. That's phenomenal. 6.5 sacks in 10 games for a defensive tackle. These are Chris Jones types of stats. These are, I mean, where we took him in the second round in the draft, and we didn't take Jalen Carter, and we took Darnell Wright. So there's a lot of scrutiny on that. But obviously, remember, Jalen Carter was going through his legal incidents. I mean, there was death involved. There was all these different things. And who am I to judge for what the kid went through? I just didn't like that he lied. I didn't like the character issues. I didn't like any of that. So I was glad that Ryan Poles passed on him and we went with Darnell Wright because we needed help on the offensive line. That's still clearly evident. And I think Darnell Wright's working through some kind of issue with injury. But that was scrutinized that we didn't take Jalen Carter because by most accounts, he had the highest grade in PFF coming into the draft. He was the highest rated player overall in last year's draft, in 2023's draft. So we passed him, and we went to Gervondexter in the second round, late second round, and we took him. And now, by all accounts, it's paying off. Now, I'm not getting into the Gervondexter and Jalen Carter comparison because Jalen Carter is going to win on his pressures. He's over-pressuring Gervondexter, but for taking in the late second round and being a top 10 defensive tackle so far this year, and Andrew Billings being a top 10 defensive tackle as well, like depending on the category you're looking at, but those two are creating the pressure, the inward pressure, and then along with DeMarcus Walker, Darrell Taylor, and Montez Sweat, this is an absolute juggernaut of a defensive line if they can keep this up. I mean, this is phenomenal. We took him in the second round. We bypassed Jalen Carter, and because of the development he's had so far, he's in many regards outplaying Jalen Carter, and in some regards not quite, but it's a neck-and-neck conversation. It doesn't matter who you're talking to, unless they're going off name alone and popularity vote. Like, if you stick these two down, Gervondexter has the slight edge. Like, he is ahead of Jalen Carter so far in their development in their career, especially with how he's come on in the last 10 games. It's a huge, dramatic improvement, and he can be a staple on this defense for years to come. All right, so here's where last year I showed the Tez effect. This is the big thing that I showed in my video, one of the more popular videos I had, showing the Montez Sweat effect. And then I want to show you guys this year what I call the swarm effect. So this is the last thing I'll go over with you. This is the swarm effect, how the entire defense is affecting this team from top to bottom. So here's, oops, wrong one, my bad. Here's last year, okay? So here's last year's team. And you look at the PFF grades, and that's kind of how they organize these, but then you look at the win percentage. And we had two guys with a positive win percentage, and nobody really near that 10 mark on PRP. You want guys at least at 8 or above. So Big Bill, Andrew Billings, was really holding his own. 7.3. He really did have a good year. There's a reason he got the extension. And then 12.2 pass rush win rate was really good. You look at this year, now take Zach Pickens out because he's got only 4 opportunities, so it's a very limited sample size before he got injured. But I'm excited that he could possibly, that's very limited, so you really can't even consider that. But when he comes back, the potential that he has, I want to see him improve. But DeMarcus Walker this year, 16.5 pass rush win rate. Andrew Billings, 14.1. Byron Cowart, 12, coming in on limited snaps. Montez Sweat, 11. Chris Williams coming in on limited snaps, 10.4. And then Gervondexter still, 9.3. But then you look at these guys on PRP, you've got more guys close to that 8 range. Gervondexter over 8, which is awesome. And then Darrell Taylor, 7.2. Daniel Hardy, 10. Montez Sweat, still a little low for him, but Andrew Billings at 6. These are good things. So I want to point out over here, through 2024, through 5 games, this is what we've got so far. We're 10th in pressured plays. So we got 42 pressured plays overall. Now, we have 70 pressures as a team. So these guys have created and accounted for 70 pressures overall, but many pressures happen on the same play. So 2 guys can get the same pressure. Obviously, if they're sharing a sack, that happens all the time. But they have 42 plays where they have created a pressure. They're 9th in plays resulting in a pressure. So that's 24.4% of the defensive plays have resulted in a pressure. That's good enough for 9th. So this is a top 10 line. This is what I'm showing you. They're 11th in sacks generated. We've created 14 sacks overall. 5th lowest in missed tackles, which is being overlooked right now by everybody. Nobody's looking at this. We've only missed 19 tackles. Some teams are up to 50, 60 missed tackles. This team truly is living the hits principle, and they are tackling. The cornerbacks, the safeties, linebackers, everything. Every one of them is good at tackling. It's rare that you're seeing a missed tackle, and that's evident. I mean, there's like 3.5, 4 a game. They're 2nd in expected points added by the defense as a result of the pass defense. 36.7 points added. That's 2nd in the entire league by expected points added. The defense is truly winning ball games for us right now. And then we're tied for 3rd in interceptions, which is a result of the pass rush. So that's good enough for, we have 6. We're good enough for being tied for 3rd right now with 6 of those. And we could have had a couple more too. We're right on the cusp. So, man, guys, I'm just super excited about this pass rush, the effect that it's having, the pressure these guys create, because that was one of the biggest question marks, and that's what we were getting hashed on by everybody. I got to get off of DeMarcus Walker's face because he's doing so freaking good I can't cover him up. That's one of the biggest things that we were scrutinized coming into the season. People were worrying about that we're not good enough to compete. We're not good enough to compete in the NFC North. Now, clearly, the NFC North is the best division in football so far through 5 games, a third of the way through the season, because every team has a winning record. This is going to be a gauntlet. This is going to be an absolutely brutal division where 3 teams could make the playoffs from the NFC North. So it's going to be fun to see how it plays out. But the pass rush pressure and the effect that it's had on this team, how it's carrying the team so far, and now you see Caleb with the huge game he had, and how the offense is coming along. It's a matter of time until both of these are top 10 offenses and defenses. And that's what's exciting to me the most after this last week's game, and as we travel to London for the Jacksonville game. This team is balanced. Offense, defense, and even special teams with the game Torrey Taylor had against the Rams. This is a very balanced team that makes it exciting. I mean, I'm not tuning out on defense. I'm not tuning out on offense. it's equally exciting anytime. I'm not tuning out when we punt. It's exciting in every aspect of it. So I love it. Let me know what you guys think of this video. If you learned anything from it, what sticks out to you. Till next time, dabears.